Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is April 20, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 68 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all your comments pulled up in front of me. Before we begin, as always, I'm going to mention I'm not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information that I provide in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS. I'm actually gonna go to the homepage, and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question comment from Nadine Parkinson. I'm a green card holder and I file I-130 for my under 21 unmarried son on September 25, 2020. On January 5, 2023, him document qualify. When will NVC schedule an interview for my son in Jamaica? Nadine, congratulations on your son being documentarily qualified. That's a huge step. The only thing that is left now is that interview at the embassy. Hopefully it goes well. So whenever it comes to the interview schedule, we know right now that there are some people that are still waiting roughly for about 2.5 years for their interviews after being documentarily qualified. And we know that as of recent visa bulletin release for April 2023, and I'm talking of course about the F2A category. All right, so that is the category that you are in, that your son is in the F2A category, because you're a green card holder and he is unmarried, under 21. Not necessarily, to kind of, I don't want to scare you, because 2.5 years, it's a very long time to wait. But we know that this was how long people were waiting because of the pandemic, the delays that are associated with the pandemic, the closures that we experienced during the pandemic. So I think we will have that time shortened significantly in the next few months. Just stay on top of the visa bulletin. Make sure that you're checking it. Make sure that you're, seeing the updated dates. What I would recommend doing is, if you can, reach out to your local U.S. embassy and see if they can give you that information approximately how long, because really it comes down to the U.S. embassies. We have the backlog in the visa bulletin that is associated with the availability of immigrant visas, but now we also have a little bit of that backlog at the US embassies because they were all closed. So all of the people that were documentarily qualified, that were waiting for their interviews, that number was accumulating and accumulating and accumulating because US embassies were closed as well. Now they're all finally open. Now the interviews are being scheduled. So I think eventually they are catch up. Typically though, when there is no dealing with pandemic or anything like this, once you're documentarily qualified, at least that's how it was, and the immigrant visa is available, within 3 to 6 months the interview is usually scheduled. It depends on the schedule of the US embassies. But right now we know that there are some people that are still waiting for about 2.5 years in F2A category. So it's possible that there is still some time to wait, since he was documentarily qualified in January. Well, yeah, if we're looking at the whole 2.5 years. But again, I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm telling it so that you are prepared. But again, reach out to the local U.S. embassy and see how they are. Maybe they're not as busy in Jamaica. Maybe they're processing. Maybe they're catching up. They might be able to tell you. Again, if they don't tell you anything, don't be too upset, because it's at their discretion, but it is worth a shot to find out. Alright, let's move on to the next one from Sunil. Sir, I'm really tortured by government. Police is under control of government. I have all proof. If I get tourist visa of Canada and choose flight which flee via New York airport, when I land on New York airport before reaching Canada, can I claim for asylum at New York airport? Yes, Sunil, you definitely can. If possible, I want to hire you for my case, and I will call you reach New York airport in advance so that you can help me for asylum case at New York airport. I will pay you some part of the fees in advance, and rest will be paid after filing my case. Will it work? Kindly suggest me. Sunil, I'm very sorry. I don't offer any services outside of this channel. This is it. Free immigration help. The reason why it's called free immigration help is because I started it not to make any money. If you're making some money out of it, this is no longer help, okay? This is service. I don't provide any services whenever it comes to the immigration. If you want, you can definitely do your research. I actually have a video on how to find a good immigration attorney. You can do your research. But here's the thing. Whenever it comes to applying for asylum, it is pretty straightforward. So if you do enough research, if you prepare enough, you technically don't even need to have an attorney or someone who is filling it out for you, because you can do it all yourself. Everything is there for you to do yourself, and I will actually show you, and I'll use this as an opportunity to demonstrate some navigation on official USCIS.gov website, US Citizenship and Immigration Services official website. We're gonna go to, this is it right here, you can find the link in the description below of this video. We'll go to forms, and then we'll go to all forms, and this will give us all of the immigration forms that are available now. The application for asylum or withdrawal of withholding of removal is 589. We can type it in, or you can scroll down to it. There you go. And as you can see, it is available online. The only requirement for asylum is that you have to, well, besides, you know, the persecution and all that sort of stuff, you have to be here in the United States in order to be able to apply for the asylum. All right, that's the main requirement. That's what basically categorizes this as asylum. But I'm sorry you're dealing with this. This is unfortunately the case with a lot of countries around the world. I wish you best of luck, and hope that everything works out for you, and you'll be able to figure it out. All right, let's move on to the next one from Oni Praise, and I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Does Africa have visa bulletin at all? If yes, how do we understand it? Please help explain. Of course, Oni. So yes, definitely Africa visa bulletin is applicable to Africa. Basically, if you look at the visa bulletin, you will see that there are different chargeability areas. There's 4 countries that have separate their own chargeability area. It's China, India, Philippines, and Mexico, because the immigration numbers are heavier from those countries. Africa falls, all the countries in Africa, because they don't have anything separate for them, they fall within all chargeability graph. So we're going to take a look at the visa bulletin, and here you go. So all chargeability. So whatever country it is in Africa, it's going to be within this column right here. So you know your column. You obviously know your category, right? Which category your beneficiary is in, depending on, if you're a permanent resident or if you're a citizen, filing for spouse, filing for child, under 21, over 21, all of these factors, they will determine which category they're in. And then you got the graph B for the dates of filing, for the priority dates, basically when USCIS received the I-130. All right, this is it. This is the graph for it. And then there's also graph A for the final action dates, which are basically referring to the documentarily qualified, when the beneficiary was documentarily when the case was documentarily qualified, and the same thing. And you can kind of compare some of them. They're still not updated. We're still checking out the updates, and every month, once the new visa bulletin will come out, I will be making an updated video on it, just like the one that you commented on. So if you want any specific kind of, not very specific estimates, of course, because this is still very rough estimates, we are just now seeing some movement, just let me know the priority date, the category, and the chargeability area, of course, will be helpful, and I will be able to not great estimates, very rough estimates, but at least some estimates might be helpful. All right, let's move on to the next one from Obad Noelar. Sir, I applied for my EAD 150 days after my asylum case was received, but just received a denial notice that I didn't follow the EAD clock. Please, what can I do? Should I reapply? Obad, I'm very sorry you're dealing with. So, I don't have this right as of right now, but if you search, do your research, there is actually a phone number. There is a special phone number that is automated system, and it is specifically for asylum EAD clock. I will try to find it, and I will make a video on it. I don't have it right now. I know I did, because there were some people that, you know, they were checking that they were dealing with this. It is unfortunately not very accurate whenever it comes to the EAD clock, because I have personally called, and basically what would happen is you would call, you know, today, and it would say whatever, you have 140 days on your EAD clock, and then you call tomorrow and then it says again 140 days, so it's like doesn't move. So sometimes in 2 days it only moves 1 day, and sometimes it moves every day. It's I don't know what's going on with that system, but sorry you're dealing with. The best thing to do is, yes, definitely give it, I would say, at least another month. If you cannot find that phone number, I'm not sure if it is still, you know, if it's still a working system, if it's still available, that phone number where you can call that automated system, put in your alien registration number, and they give you that clock information. But if you cannot find it, and I'll try to find it, if I cannot find it, the best thing to do is just give it another month and then just reapply for that EAD. And that is unfortunately a known issue. I've seen plenty of cases where people were waiting not 150 days, they were waiting 180 days, and they were applying, and then they were denied. And always, I actually had somebody who called into their local asylum field office, or asylum office, whatever they're called, because they have a specific one. Field office is a little bit different from the asylum office. For example, you know, in Florida there is one in Miami, and somebody actually called there, and they told them that the business days apparently do not count, which is absolutely ridiculous, you know. But it just shows that even the people that work there, they don't really have a good understanding on how this works or who calculates them, and yeah, it's a disaster, unfortunately, about. So I'm very sorry you're dealing with. Try to find that number. If you cannot find that number, the best thing to do is apply in 30 days. If you continue experiencing the problems, I have made a video on this channel how to complain, how to submit a formal, proper, professional complaint with a few different government bodies. All right, so if you get another denial, then that's probably would be the best thing to do. But I'm sorry you're dealing with this. This is ridiculous. You know, honestly, when you're applying for asylum, when you have a pending asylum case, there is absolutely no point to wait for 6 months to be able to work legally in the United States of America. All right, if you applied for asylum right tomorrow and you're now pending asylum case, why is it that you cannot work right as soon as you apply for asylum? You're not making worse for anyone. When you are legally working in the United States, you are not making it worse for anyone, because you know you're working, you're doing service for someone, for a company, for whoever, you're paying taxes, everything is good. Your asylum is approved, great. You continue working towards your residency. Your asylum is denied, okay, it's denied, you don't no longer have permission to work, and now you are, you know, placed in the removal proceedings. I do not understand why we have to wait for 6 months in order to be able to legally work. In fact, it makes it much worse, because now these people that are here, we know that they're here for at least for 6 months. They're going to be here, right? Pending asylum applications. They can't work legally. So how are you going to survive if you're not working legally? So obviously, most people, they search for ways to work illegally. And now it's bad for the people who are working illegally. It's bad for people who are hiring those people that perform work off the books, right? It's bad for everyone. I have no idea, but that's what we deal with, is the system. All right, let's move on to the next one from Trudy Bubs. Trudy, thank you very much for another question. Thank you, sir, for the last answer. But I can't see the website that I should go on to send my public inquiry. Can you say it out loud so I can write it down, because your screen is fine print? Thank you. That's the official website I'm talking. Yes, Trudy, of course. So 2 options. There is a link in the description below of this video, and every answering video that I do, there's a link in the description below. And basically, this is the website right here where the visa bulletin is, and it's called travel.state.gov. travel.state.gov. So if you go to this website, You can either go to Visa Bulletin, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are on this website, once you have it open in front of you, at the very top right here of this little navigation menu, not the big one, the very top small one right here, you will see Contact Us. Alright, so once you click on that, we're going to open the new tab. And for some reason it always takes forever. I don't know why, it's just Contact Us page. And then you click on US Visas Contacts right here. It's the third option. Click on that. And then if you scroll down, you will see a graph. At the very top of the graph, the very top part, you will see this public inquiry form right here. So click on that, and then you will see online immigrant visa inquiries only, public inquiry form. Click on that, and that's gonna be a form right here. I will see if I can actually put in this video. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this. Why don't I just do that? That would make it much easier. So I'll put this, and I will also copy this thing right here, and I'll put that as a link. There you go. I don't know why it shows disabled. Let me know if this, hopefully this link works. Let me try it myself first. Okay, so it works. So I think it should work for you as well. There you go. So now you have the link. All right, let's move on to the next one from H Digitally. Hello, I have received this notice from NVC. Your case is ready for your interview when scheduled at the US Consular section. If you have already scheduled an appointment for an interview, please prepare your documents as directed in your appointment letter and appear at the consulate on the appointed date and time. Otherwise, please wait until you have been notified of your interview appointment. Okay, additional information about how immigrant visa interviews appointments are scheduled can be found at, yes. How long does it take after this notice, and how to check if my document is qualified or not? Okay, so if you got this notice, if your interview is about to be scheduled, it means you are already documentarily qualified. So that's definitely great news. Now, whenever it comes to actually scheduling the interviews, there's a lot of factors that, it's really hard to tell. The worst case scenario we're looking at, like the F2A category tells us, as of April 2023 Visa Bulletin release, about 2.5 years that are people waiting. But again, that is associated with the closures during the pandemic. This is not associated with the backlog on the immigrant visas. This is associated with the artificial backlog within the US embassies. They're getting too many, they got too much documentarily qualified cases that they now need to schedule the interviews. The good news is that this artificial backlog, because there is no limitation on how many of these they can schedule basically a year, they keep scheduling as much as they can. So this should be moving along pretty quickly. So I don't think for too long we will see those crazy numbers like 2.5 years waiting for an interview. I think this will move up pretty quickly. And in the next couple months, I think we will see some really positive, numbers just going down to normal like they used to be, about 3 to 6 months for an interview. But again, since you're already documentarily qualified, since your immigrant visa should be available, because you wouldn't be documentarily qualified if your immigrant visa wasn't available. Most of the times, especially now, they wait really, really close to the availability of the immigrant visa before they allow you to become documentarily qualified. I would recommend reaching out to the local US embassy in the country where the interview is supposed to be, and giving it a shot and asking them, hey guys, saying, I'm my beneficiary, or filing for beneficiary, I'm the petitioner. This is the, I-130 application, petition for alien relative. They are already documentarily qualified. I got notice that the interview is going to be scheduled with you guys. Can you please tell me how long, estimate how much of that wait time for the interview to be scheduled do you guys have? And they might say, yeah, sure, we can give you that information. It's roughly 1 year. Or they can say, sorry, we cannot give you that information, but at least it's worth a shot. It's at their discretion, but it's a worth shot. If you can find out more precise number, that would be great. But again, as of right now, the worst case scenario, judging by the F2A, is about 2.5 years people waiting. Okay, so let me put this before I forget. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's not the link. Let's do this right here. There we go. And we're gonna move on to the next one from Chad Leslie. Just want to say a big thanks for this information. I really appreciate you and your excellent job. One love, Chad. Appreciate it. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for watching and thank you for asking the questions. Without your questions, I wouldn't be able to make these videos. So I appreciate it as much as, you know, as same. All right, let's move on to the next one from John D. Mechanic Shop. F1 category. Priority date is 2017. How long will it take to become current? All right, let's take a look at the visa bulletin, and we're gonna go to the priority date graph, the graph B. F1 currently showing for all chargeability areas January 2017, and John here has 2017. Okay, well, so looks like John really anytime now. I mean, we are showing, let's see, January 2017 as of April 2023. No, that's actually as of May 2023 because this is May visa bulletin. So depending on which month your priority date is in, let's say if your priority date is in September 2017, and right now they're, you know, the immigrant visas are becoming available for people who filed back in January 2017, then you're roughly looking at February, what, roughly about like 6 months, 7 months, right? 8 months. My math is horrible. But again, this is very rough estimate because things are being updated now. The things that have not been updated for a very, very long time. So we are seeing some dramatic positive movement on most of the stuff. And in the next couple months, we will have basically everything equalized, because in May visa bulletin we've seen a huge jump, specifically I think for F1. I think actually it was like 6 months forward in a good way. So in the next couple months we might see it, you know, kind of normalize and start moving like a month or 2 months at a time. So we will see. It's important to stay on top of everything. I would, if you are not already documentarily qualified, I am thinking you should be getting the access to the portal anytime now to become documentarily qualified, because it's really coming up. It's coming up really soon. All right, let's move on to the next one from Ramon Lopez. Thank you for your video. I filled out my form myself. Very nice. And sent it via USPS. How long does it take for me to receive some sort of receipt? And if I don't receive anything, how do I check if everything went well? Ramon, congratulations on filing your application. I-589 application for asylum. I would say it's probably one of the more rich, big, bulky applications, you know, out of really, even compared to I-130 and really anything. Right now I cannot think of anything more complicated in a way than the asylum application, just because it involves so much stuff, and when you have dependents you have to do all these copies for all your dependents. So congratulations on doing it yourself. That's a huge progress. So whenever it comes to really any kind of application, when you send it to USCIS, especially by mail, not online but by mail, usually you're looking at about 2 months to get that notice of receipt saying that, hey, we received it. You send it by mail roughly 1 week before it gets there. But because it's by mail, it is sitting most of the times at the PO box for at least a week or 2 weeks before it's actually picked up and placed on the desk of the immigration officer. Obviously then the immigration officer reviews it, and that can take, you know, especially with big applications like asylum applications, I-589, and then they do this, if everything is good, notice of receipt, they mail it. So it takes some time. So you're looking roughly at about 2 months. If you don't see anything in 2 months, then yes, I would recommend reaching out to USCIS by phone and actually following up and seeing if they have received the application or not. All right, let's move on to the next question from Davina Early. Hello sir, let me ask you a question. If you disable and you try to send for another citizen for another country to be my caretaker, which form are need to fill in. Okay, Davina, thank you for your question. So the easiest, the most easiest case, kind of like a scenario that you can do in this situation would just be a regular B1 B2 visa, which is regular non-immigrant visitor visa. This is the easiest and the fastest option that is available, because really all you need to do is you need to write out an invitation saying that, I am this and that, my name, date of birth, I'm a citizen of, United States, or something along those lines, or I'm a permanent resident of the United States, and I am inviting the name of the person, their date of birth, their information, and then the reason why you're inviting, and approximately for how long. And it can be anything. It can be, I'm inviting them for a month, 2 months, 3 months to visit me, to help me with, my disability, with this and that. And then you send that. You can notarize that. You don't have to, but I do recommend notarizing these kind of letters, invitation letters. You send the notarized letter. You can either do it electronically, so notarized letter, you scan it and you email it to the person, or you can physically send the letter if you want it to look more official, right? Because now it's an original. Obviously, keep the copies just in case. Send the original to the person receives it, they schedule an interview for a non-immigrant visa at their local US embassy. They go there with this invitation and they say, hey, my whoever friend, relative is inviting me. I need to go temporarily, help them out, so far so forth. This would be the fastest, the easiest way to do that. Of course, depending on the relationship, if it's a relative, then there are immigration petitions that you can file for them to invite them, but those definitely do take quite a long time in most of the cases. Even if it's immediate relative and the immigrant visas are always available for that category, they do still take quite a long time to process. So give that a shot. If that works for you, if you have any follow-up questions, let me know. I will be very happy, and it goes for everyone too. If you have any follow-up questions, do not hesitate to ask them. I will be happy to answer them. Just make sure don't respond to your own comment, to my comment within your own comment, because for some reason I don't get those notifications. For some reason YouTube doesn't send me those notifications. All right, let's move on to the next question from Killsj Tech. It's been 2 years that the visa bulletin was no movement. When to move the visa bulletin, final action date F2B Philippines. Any prediction? Killsj, thank you for your question. Yeah, visa bulletin, it was stressing out a lot of people for a very long time. 2 years, no movement, and we know that that's the case because of the closures that we experienced during pandemic. We really haven't seen I don't remember anything similar to that, where just everything was just shut down, nothing was happening. Not at the NVC, not at the USCIS, not in the US embassies, nothing. Literally nothing. The US embassies, they were I think they were providing some services for US citizens, but no immigrant visas, no non-immigrant visas, nothing at all. So it's a little bit of a unique situation, and it's really kind of hard to tell, but what we know right now is the best kind of prediction that we can make. So if we look at the information that is right now in front of us, that is the best thing to use to make our kind of predictions. And what we have right now is that finally, as of last month, April, which we are still in April, but May already came out. So as of April 2023 Visa Bulletin and May 2023 Visa Bulletin, we are finally seeing movement on almost everything, all right? So I'm thinking in the next few months, we will have all the other categories that still are not showing any movement. We will see some movement as well. On the plus side, just because we know for a fact that just because right now we don't see the movement on some categories, it does not mean that those immigrant visas are not being issued, that the things are not moving along. Just like, for example, with F1, first priority category, we've seen a 6 months jump from past months to this month. And the reason for that, of course, is not because in 1 month they process 6 months worth of immigrant visas. Not at all, no. It's because they were moving along all this time. It's just Department of State with their visa bulletin, they have not been providing updated information. I don't for a fact know exactly how and why some of them updated and some of them not updated. Maybe they need more information, maybe they need more time, I don't know. But we do see movement, so I think in the next couple months, again, I will be making a new visa bulletin video each month. The new one comes up. Right now the most recent one is May. Once June comes out, because you know, everybody's, it's very it's going to give us a lot of answers. A lot of people are waiting for, you know, a lot of answers. A lot of people are waiting for their immigrant visas to become available. So we will see, and I am thinking personally, I think that we're gonna see some positive movement in June, July for all the other categories, but for also the categories that have experienced some serious delays, we will see some movement on those as well. So thank you very much everyone for your questions. I really appreciate it. If you have any follow-up questions, do not hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, appreciate your time, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.